Tonight on CTV News, we take a look at the U+2 law in Fort Collins and the Veterans Day 5K.
Then later on, we get the full rundown of the CSU women's soccer team, and stay tuned for some holiday fun. All this and more on CTV News starting now. Good evening, CSU. I am Litos Castro.
And I'm Stuart Smith. Let's begin with tonight's top stories. Tragedy unfolded on Sunday morning just outside of San Antonio, Texas, as a shooter opened fire inside a Baptist church, killing 26 people. The shooter has been identified as Devin Kelly. This is the worst mass shooting in Texas history. Sunland Park officials told their Texas colleagues that Kelly was a danger to himself and others, as he had already been caught sneaking firearms onto Holloman Air Force Base. Kelly was previously kicked out of the Air Force in 2014 after spending a year in a military jail for beating his wife and her son. On Monday, the Air Force admitted that they had not informed the FBI of his domestic violence conviction, which should have barred him from buying or possessing firearms. Kelly bought at least 4 guns between 2014 and 2017, authorities said, including 2 at San Antonio sporting goods stores.
While you were walking to class this morning, you may have noticed some disturbing and troubling posters around the CSU campus. The "It's Okay to be White" posters are in the process of being removed from the campus. Signs with the same message have appeared on college campuses and at high schools across the United States. According to the Post, these posters are used for recruiting young adults into white nationalist groups. The papers and stickers were found taped or stuck onto structures like the Newton sculpture on the south side of campus and underneath Clark B. Since then, students have been cleaning them off the structures or ripping them off. One student taking down one of the posters, who wished to remain anonymous, stated he did not know what the signs were for, but had a suspicion that the message had something to do with white supremacy and wanted to take down the signs. For more information, please visit collegian.com. Stuart, I've heard you have an exclusive interview with Josh Silva from ASCSU discussing the U+2 law in Fort Collins. Tell me more about it.
Yeah, so last week at ASCSU, they passed a bill that allocated $10,000 for a study that would be about U+2 here in Fort Collins. For those of you who don't know, U+2 is a law that prevents a lease in Fort Collins from having more than 3 unrelated people on it. Students at CSU have generally not been very happy with it since it began to be enforced again in 2004. It had been in the books a long time before that, but that's when they brought it back. ASCSU President Josh Silva was a co-sponsor of the bill, and while he knows that his administration will never be able to use the study, he hopes that future ASCSU members will be able to put it to good use.
We won't know the results of the study for a couple years. I think ideally, regardless, we want to get into a place where we can make assertions and claims and arguments from a sound place of facts, because we'll have that hard data from the study.
Yeah, so while ASCSU's been fighting it for a couple of years, actually ever since 2004 really, Silva thinks that the reason that his administration has made more progress on it is because they have a new way of thinking about it.
What we really need to be conscious of as students is thinking about U+2 not as a student issue, but as an economic issue and an affordability issue. I think from the city's perspective, it's important to keep in mind that they care about maintaining the quality of housing, the affordability of it, and at the same time they're realizing that there's a really severe shortage of housing.
And while they did pass the bill through the Senate, there were some senators who were against it, mainly because they didn't think that the city would actually pay attention to what the study said. One former ASCSU senator who spoke there, Mike Watson, says that the city will just ignore the results of the study to take any of the students' time and money to give it to something that is almost guaranteed to fail, because Fort Collins doesn't want that to happen. If you're going to spend money on anything to enrich the lives of the students that you have, I'd recommend doing it on something other than this. You can read about it more in tomorrow's paper, and so can you in tomorrow's Collegian. To be or not to be? That is the question that many Fort Collins residents were asking themselves recently. Measure 2B was an initiative to allow Fort Collins City Council to authorize $150 million in bonds and other debts for the city to build its own broadband service, which would be in direct competition with Comcast and CenturyLink, which both service Fort Collins. Both of those companies run on copper cable networks that don't run as slowly as the fiber optic cable network that the city is hoping to get. The goal of the initiative is to build a network that can support 1 gigabyte per second internet, which Comcast offers for just under $160, and CenturyLink doesn't offer at all. While many were in support of the measure for just those reasons, many also detracted against it. They disliked that because that the consequences of it were not that great. If it fails, the debt taken for the network from the network If it fails because the debt that they took isn't fully paid by the consumers, the network would be shut down and customers would have to continue paying a monthly bill all the way until the debt is fully paid off. The election finished several minutes ago, and we'll have an update from Nicole Parra in a few minutes.
We have our live correspondent, Nicole Parra, at the mayor of Old Town venue covering the Laramie County election tonight. Nicole, how's it going out there?
Well, today is election day for Laramie County, and there are two measures on the ballot regarding the city of Fort Collins. These measures include a city broadband initiative and marijuana regulation. Here at Mayor of Old Town, people are gathering to watch results as they become available. As you can see from the atmosphere behind me, people are talking, gathering, and really just enjoying a beverage to celebrate the work that has gone in leading up to this election season. For CTV News, I'm Nicole Parra.
Thank you, Nicole. Now, Stuart, what do you think? How do you think this election is going to turn out?
I'm honestly, about Measure 2B at least, I'm not sure. There were a lot of people that I was talking to that supported both sides. Measure 2C, which is about medical marijuana, I'm pretty sure that that one's actually going to pass, just because we're in Colorado.
Fair enough. All righty then. The annual Veterans Day 5K was held this past weekend here on campus. This now marks the 8th time this event has been held. Take a look.
Back in 2010, the student veteran population here at CSU was beginning to skyrocket, and the first 5K was run with the desire of connecting the greater CSU and Fort Collins community with the student veterans on campus.
While this event is also for fun, it's also a reminder to keep our veterans in our hearts for what they've done.
It was also decided then that the run would honor CSU community-connected veterans that have paid the ultimate sacrifice in the defense of our great country.
This event brings a lot of the community together and is, as one veteran says, a great way to spend the morning.
I would encourage people that if they didn't do this event this year, think about it for next year. If you're on campus, think about getting involved, especially if you're someone that would be served by ALVS. And do like we're doing this year. A group of my friends and I are together, and we're just going to ruck together, be together for the morning. And that's a good thing to do with everybody's busy lives these days.
Both individual and group runners came out to run the annual race.
So I'm actually an elementary PE teacher, and I brought some kids from my school to run for our run club. So I had 7 students with their families out running today. So I just figured I would run the race with them as well.
As Veterans Day approaches this weekend, it's clear that events like these hold a close place in the hearts of the community.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe a meaning. You know what I mean? Because it's important, but it's that sense of community and that sense of giving these guys dignity and honor for what they did.
If you don't have any plans this Veterans Day, one family has an idea for what you can do.
You know, it's a great day to do what you can, shake somebody's hand, and just let everyone, all the veterans, know that they're appreciated for what they've done.
If you were not able to make it out to the run this year, we do encourage that you participate next year.
Before we can kick up our feet, loosen our belts, and start shoveling food in our faces in celebration of Thanksgiving, Northern Colorado has a lot to do as a community. Across both Laramie and Weld counties, the food banks serving each county need over 7,300 turkeys to ensure that everyone in our community can enjoy this wonderful holiday. Wing Shack is teaming up with the Weld County Food Bank as well as the Food Bank for Laramie County to make sure that each organization meets their goals. As an added incentive for those looking to donate a turkey, Wing Shack is offering 5 free wings if you bring a turkey in. For every turkey donated, Wing Shack will donate $5 to the local food bank. All 5 of the Wing Shack Northern Colorado locations will serve as the drop-off point for anyone interested in donating a turkey this holiday season. Well, that's all the time we have for you tonight, CSU.
Stay tuned for Zach Trombetta. He has your full weather forecast of the week, and he will let you know if this snow is going to continue into the weekend, so don't go anywhere.